Hi, I'm Chuck Myron,
And I'm his wife, Taryn Myron.
and we're married to Saturdays.
Married to Saturdays.
All right,
Welcome to
well,
week 3.
week three.
We are chugging along. I'm so excited.
Well, it's a big week, especially for Tennessee,
Yes.
with Georgia coming to Knoxville. But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about what we saw with our teams in week two. Now, you, of course, with Florida State, with a big win over the massive win over East Texas A&M, 77 to 3,
To
was
3,
it?
yes.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
74 points we won by. That's pretty amazing.
Well, what do you take away from something like that?
Well, we did what top 10 team needed to do, which we are now. I'm very excited. When we heard the rankings on Sunday, I wanted to jump up and down, and it almost happened. Um,
Almost.
Almost happened. But what I take away from the game, Tommy Castellanos and the first stringers had an amazing game. So did the second and third stringers and the fourth stringer. I mean, we were up 49-0 at halftime. Well, most teams didn't even score 49 points in their whole game, even with blowouts of other, Group of Five or FCS teams last weekend. So I take that away. There is talk of Tommy Castellanos being an outside Heisman candidate. I don't believe in that talk this early in the season. I can't get my hopes up. I'm not even thinking about it. So, no fans, don't think about it yet. We still have a lot of time to go before we can think about that. However, we played great. Like I said, the second, third, and even our fourth string ers were in. A fourth string quarterback, somebody by the name of Grant. Never heard of. So thank you, Grant, for coming in and playing.
Not Ulysses.
No, no, it's probably not Ulysses Grant. However, we got to see a lot of reps, and those other second, third, fourth stringers got a lot of reps because you never know if players get injured.
Well,
It's good practice.
that's important. Is you want to make sure that your team has the depth that it needs as you go through the season, because there will inevitably be injuries, and that's kind of the takeaway from Tennessee is we didn't have our starting corner,
Yes.
and we won't. Tennessee will not have its starting quarters against Georgia either.
Oh
So
boy.
Ricky Gibson III is out, as is Jermod McCoy, and in their place we've got Colton Hood, who
Yes.
played very very well against Syracuse,
Yes.
and Ty Redmond, the freshman. So
Starting.
I and so it was important to get them another game to gel. Not playing an FBS opponent, but playing a quarterback in Cade McNamara for East Tennessee State, who was obviously at Michigan and then at Iowa. So, a quarterback with a pedigree, and the secondary got to go up against that. So I think, look, you got to be very pleased with what you saw from Tennessee. Now nobody's talking Heisman or anything. Hopefully not for Aguilar or anyone on Tennessee yet. It's a long way to go.
It's a long season still.
But look, the offense continued to hum, play at pace like we want to see, which was so important for Tennessee in 2022 when they had their best team under Josh Heupel. So, uh, you have to feel pretty good. Thought you really had to feel pretty good after coming up against East Tennessee State and blowing them out, just
Yes.
as Florida State did with East Texas
East
A&M.
Texas
So
A&M.
with East Street last week, gets a little harder, a lot harder, at least for Tennessee this week. Florida
Yes.
State's on the bye.
We
so
are on the bye, so I don't have anything to talk about with week 3 as far as Florida State goes. However, I will point out that Florida State scored a school record, or tied a school record of 11 touchdowns on Saturday.
And Tennessee had a school record 72 points.
Yes.
So
it was a record-setting weekend for both schools.
Well, if we see a repeat of that for Tennessee against Georgia this week, then all bets are off.
I'm sorry, I don't think Tennessee's going to score 72 against Georgia. I'm just going to make that prediction right now.
We know it, but what we don't know is what's going to happen. When that Joey Aguilar led offense and the defense that again has missing its two
Mhm.
cornerbacks, starting two cornerbacks, goes up against the Georgia Bulldogs, who struggled a little bit
They did.
against Austin Peay. Not they weren't impressive. I shouldn't say that they struggled, but they weren't as impressive as Tennessee was
Hmm.
against their opponent and Florida State was against theirs.
Correct.
So there's Gunnar Stockton is going to have his first big test
Hmm.
in his first full season as Georgia's starting quarterback. Of course, he got some of the exposure in the playoffs last year,
Right.
and in place of Carson Beck.
Hmm.
But was it exposure or did he get exposed in those playoffs? That's the thing.
I guess we'll find out if he's ready for the SEC. The SEC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Schedule.
Now we get to find out,
Yes.
and what a test, right?
And also for Joey Aguilar. Yes, he's done great in his first two games, but this is a real SEC test. This is not Syracuse, folks. Georgia is not Syracuse.
Well, I think this is what's exciting about this is this is the type of game that I think we're going to be seeing more of early in the season when we get a 9-game SEC schedule
Hmm.
coming in next
Absolutely.
year. This is kind of maybe a preview for that. This is far earlier than Tennessee and Georgia traditionally play.
When do they traditionally play?
They traditionally play. Well, last year they played in November,
Right.
and traditionally they played in October.
Okay.
So now we have week
It's
three
early.
early
Yes.
September, and so this is. But Tennessee has played Florida at this slot in the past, so it's not going to throw anyone in Neyland Stadium for a loop. This everyone's going to be ready, and I think they really just have to play at their best in order to get that big win over Georgia, which they have not gotten under Josh Heupel. Heupel's been able to get past Alabama, been able to beat Florida at home, but Georgia has proven a little bit more difficult. So this is, I think, really, Heupel has done a lot, but this is one hurdle he has not been able to get over,
Hmm.
and so an opportunity for Heupel and the Vols this Saturday.
What a great opportunity for Heupel and the Vols. Also, what a great opportunity for Georgia, for Kirby Smart, for Gunnar Stockton, and their crew to prove that they're ready to take on the SEC gauntlet and be that contender for the SEC championship. Of course, all of that remains to be seen.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more. I mean, if I can, about Tennessee's offense because it's not just Joey Aguilar.
That's right.
They have they have a good stable of running backs, deep stable again, rotating really three and a half running backs. I like Star Thomas, the Duke transfer. I've really been impressed by him. Really, a third stringer but he gets the carries in the rotation for Tennessee. Heupel has always rotated those running backs, so I think Star Thomas could play a starring role against Georgia.
We hope so.
And Mike Matthews looked he had a great game against East Tennessee State. If he can get that kind of performance again against Georgia, look that offense has the potential to put up some big numbers, not necessarily just against that FCS type opponent, but if they have a chance, I think against an SEC team, a good one, to maybe light up the scoreboard. If they can, then Tennessee can pull the upset.
I mean, it's going to be a great test again. Georgia is going into Neyland Stadium, and from what I know of, it's one of the hardest places to play in the country.
Well, that's the thing, though. Georgia's been able to overcome that throughout their dynasty. They have not lost to Tennessee, it's going to be a raucous atmosphere. Tennessee can win. Will they? I think I'm not going to say. It's we'll have to learn about that together, right?
Well, we know who you want to win, not necessarily who you think, but who we want to win is obviously Tennessee.
Well, we know this, but biggest test of the year so far.
Yes.
And aside from and I'm biased, but aside from Texas and Ohio State, has there been a bigger game on the calendar so far?
I mean,
Maybe
Alabama, Florida State. I'm
Alabama, Florida
biased.
State, Notre Dame, Miami. But I think maybe, if both Georgia and Tennessee play to their potential, this could be, second only to Texas and Ohio State in terms of most important regular season
Third
games.
to Alabama, Florida State.
Shall see. All right. So, but
Well, with that though, I will say since Florida State is on the bye, does that mean you're going to force me to wear orange again? Or not force? That's a bad word. Are you going to convince me to wear orange?
well, I think you've convinced yourself. You think you convinced yourself when you put that ring on your finger there. Let me do that. So, yeah.
I'll marry you, but wearing orange, I don't know. I might cry on Saturday just because
See, I
orange
gotta
is not my
wear
color.
I gotta wear gold every day. So that's one of the FSU colors. So you can at least wear one of Tennessee's colors. So
I guess.
yeah, one Saturday. That's
We'll
all
see.
we're asking.
We'll see.
But look,
Just remember, you owe me.
no Florida State game this week, but some plenty of other games,
Yes.
including in the noon window. Oregon goes to Northwestern. That one a Fox game. Oregon, I said in earlier this week in the previous podcast, we have two podcasts this week. That I thought Oregon might be overrated.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to Northwestern, not a huge test by any stretch of the imagination, but a Big Ten road game. So that a chance for them
I'm
there.
sorry, Northwestern is not a good Big Ten team. I don't think this is going to be a challenge for Oregon at all.
Well, I think the Oregon maybe catches a break by not having to play in those cold winds coming off Lake Michigan
That's
in
true.
November.
Yes.
You would definitely want to, if you got to go to Northwestern, do it in September.
Yes.
Clemson at Georgia Tech. That's another team I said was overrated.
Now, I think this is a very intriguing game. I really like Georgia Tech, surprisingly. Again, they have Haynes King and
Haynes
his crew.
King's a player.
And I think this is going to be closer than people think.
Yeah, I do too. And I look. Haynes King went out to Colorado, and
They beat Colorado.
and they won. And Clemson, they had their test and they lost.
At home.
And they almost lost to Troy last week. So
at home.
Look, I think a danger spot for number 12 Clemson going on the road to Georgia Tech, noon ESPN.
Is Clemson on upset alert?
I'd put them there.
I would too.
I'd put them there. We also have so Oklahoma goes to Temple. That's also a top 25 game, noon ESPN
To
two.
Temple?
They go to Temple.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to be competitive. So we'll skip ahead to very intriguing Big Ten SEC matchup.
Ooh, another one.
Okay. Wisconsin at Alabama, noon ABC.
Ooh, that's a very intriguing game. I don't really know much about Wisconsin this year. I don't really know what they've done. They did play last year. There was a lot more hype around it last year, and Alabama whipped them last year. However, again, this is not the same Alabama team as it is last year, as we found out in week one, thanks to Florida State. However, Alabama looked really great against Louisiana Monroe. Alabama is at home, you said?
Alabama is at home.
I think this is going to be a very intriguing game. So I can't wait to watch it.
I think so. Wisconsin's 2-0, by the way. They've won. Okay. They beat Maryland and Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
And Alabama, of course, is not 2-0, as you well know.
They're 1-1.
So Alabama just did not look very good against Florida State, and I think we've got to learn a little bit about who Alabama is right here. They've got the game at home. This is an unranked Wisconsin team. They have the opportunity to really right the ship and get some of the detractors off the back of Kalen DeBoer.
Yes.
And a lot of the pressure off this team before they get into the SEC. So I think it's a very important win for a very important game to go and try win for Alabama, because if they drop this one, then the heat is really going to be on.
Kalen DeBoer's heat is hot right now because of the loss to Florida State, but it might be burning if they lose to Wisconsin.
It's on fire. That's on fire. It's awfully close to fired. So
Yes.
careful with that. And that's another game like with Clemson and Dabo. That is a problem game. That is a tough test. Um, then we also have Central Michigan, Michigan noon for
Hopefully
Big Ten
Michigan
Network
can bounce back.
bounce back type of game. South Alabama is at Auburn, 12:45 SEC Network. Then we get into the 3:30 games. Okay.
And we know the biggest game at 3:30.
Well, yes, we spoke about that. Penn State with another kind of gimme game. They got Villanova.
A basketball school.
Right. That's a tough test if they're playing them in basketball,
Yes.
but that's not round ball season yet.
No.
So that one 3:30 FS1. Uh, uh, here's an interesting one. Oregon State at 0-2 goes to Texas Tech, who's sitting there 2-0, number 21. Very intriguing Texas Tech team at 3:30 on Fox.
What do we know about Oregon State, and what do we know about Texas Tech?
Well, we know that Texas Tech is intriguing, and we know that they're a Big 12 contender.
Mhm.
I think, look, I don't know that there's going to be a lot that we're going to learn because Oregon State no longer a power conference team.
Correct.
The more you get under your belt, the better your resume becomes. And if they win, obviously that's a chance for Texas Tech to become a top 20 team in the rankings. They're sitting at number 21 right now.
It'll be a nice win for Texas Tech if they can do it.
And they are at home against Oregon State. So,
okay.
Okay. Then 4 o'clock ESPN2. Iowa State, number 14, going on the road. Is that right? Iowa State against Arkansas State.
Why would that be on the road? That's what my question would be.
That one. Well, it's Butch Jones. Remember,
Well,
he's at Arkansas State.
Well, there you
Former
go.
Tennessee coach Butch Jones
Yes.
at Arkansas State. So obviously Iowa State, another Big 12 contender there. So that they should handle Butch Jones, you would think.
Hopefully.
If Iowa State is for real, they're gonna have to take care of this one, and they already have 2 wins over power conference teams.
Right.
So,
They started with Kansas State in week 0.
and they continued with Iowa just last week.
What a great rivalry game that was.
Yeah, that was a long time. I think it had been since 2014, if I'm not mistaken, that Iowa State had won at home, or almost as long.
I think so.
Yeah. So Iowa State with a big win there. And then so they play Arkansas State this week. 4 o'clock. You've also got Missouri hosting Louisiana. That one on ESPN Plus.
We may find out if Missouri is worthy of that top 25 ranking.
You'd hope they'd be able to take care of Louisiana.
Let's hope so.
Then Texas with another cupcake. UTEP coming in. That one 4:15 SEC Network. Another chance for Arch to prove himself. It's rough debut against Ohio State.
Hardest debut you could probably think of for a young quarterback.
So give him some more reps. Get him going a little bit against UTEP. 4:30, the CW, one of the most intriguing games all week. USF, number 18 at number 5, Miami.
You don't want to miss this game. I think besides Georgia, Tennessee, if there's another game to watch this week, my vote would be USF, Miami.
Problem is, I have 2 eyes, but they kind of have to work in tandem, so I might not be able to see USF Miami live.
Yes.
But I would like to watch the tape because this what an opportunity for USF. That would be a very tired football team going into Miami. Let's not kid ourselves. That's been a tough task. Play Boise State and Florida back to back, and now Miami a little bit more rested, perhaps. Going up against USF, and a chance for Miami to really assert itself and prove that it's a national championship contending team. To just, if they can really handle USF.
Wait a minute, national championship contending team?
I think.
Let's go back to ACC championship contending team because they haven't won an ACC title since they've been in the ACC.
They
So
haven't yet.
let's start there.
All right. Well,
Don't get your hopes up. Sorry, I'm a Florida State fan. You know I have to bring this up. Don't get your hopes up, Canes.
Well, look, on the other side, USF. What an opportunity! If they can go 3-0, my goodness.
Would they be in the top 5 or top 10?
Not top 5, but that should be a top 10 team.
Absolutely.
If they beat Miami.
Absolutely.
I think that I don't know that any school would have as impressive a bunch of wins as that. So
right.
What an opportunity for USF. And remember, that's a group of 5 team. I think they've already vaulted themselves to the top of that heap. And if they can beat Miami, then they put a commanding lead out for that group of 5 playoff spot.
Absolutely.
Playoffs in September. Think about that. So,
wow.
Okay, then the later games, Ohio State with another should be a walkover against the University of Ohio in state battle. That one's 7 o'clock on Peacock. Illinois takes on Western Michigan.
Should be a win for Illinois.
That one 7 o'clock FS1 should be. Arkansas is at Ole Miss 7 o'clock ESPN.
I might put this one on upset alert. Arkansas has a tendency to upset teams, as Tennessee knows from last year. I don't know what kind of Arkansas team we have this year, but I am putting this on a slight upset alert.
That's now it is in Oxford. So Ole Miss playing a home game, but I think look, you have to be cognizant of the fact that Arkansas is a program that is capable of high highs and low lows.
Yes, yes, they are.
You got to be prepared for everything. All right, so here's another intriguing one.
Okay.
Florida licking its wounds. The Gators go into LSU's Death Valley. 7:30 ABC.
Now this is going to be an interesting game. I'm definitely going to watch this for a lot of reasons. Now remember, Florida just lost to a USF team that Florida paid USF $500,000 to go play them in Gainesville. Well, now they travel to LSU. We also don't know what type of team LSU is yet. Again, yes, they beat Clemson, but we don't think Clemson's as good as maybe as stated in the preseason. So I think this is going to be a really good test for LSU. Florida's mad. Florida's upset. Billy Napier's seat is burning also. So I think this is going to be a really intriguing matchup. Again, you have Nussmeier on one side, you have Lagway on the other side. Very experienced quarterback for LSU, and still an experienced quarterback for Florida, maybe just not as much. But I'm really interested to see this game.
Well, look, I mean, Napier can do a lot for himself if he's able to pull this off. And before Saturday, I don't think anyone thought that that this would be an insurmountable opponent for the Gators. Of course, it could be one of those situations where we look back on it and Florida's only solace is that they didn't have to pay for the selecting they took. So you have to think. I did say I thought LSU slightly overrated in this in the rankings. They are number 3. So are they really a top 3 team? They can go a long way toward proving that if they can handle the Gators this week.
And also with Florida, again, they also have a really tough schedule. This is the start of 4 really difficult games for them.
I think it's 6 or maybe
it's 4 with
four in a row. Okay.
Because they have LSU, then Miami, and then Texas A&M. They have a bye, and then they come back to Texas. Wow. Tough schedule.
Wow.
For Gators.
Wow. Like from the SEC.
Yes.
My goodness. And then they didn't make it easy on themselves with their schedule. No. Florida State, USF.
Tennessee.
Well, that's an SEC, but I think maybe you look at Florida as a program that maybe schedules a little too tough out of conference, especially with 9 SEC games coming in. Might have to rethink some of these things. Are we going to see? By the way, are we going to see Florida Miami? What is the future of that series? I think that's a good off-season question.
That's a great question. We'll get to that in the off-season.
Yeah. Okay, here's another intriguing one. 7:30 NBC, rematch of a great game from last year. This time, Texas A&M goes to Notre Dame.
What an intriguing matchup. Notre Dame lost to Miami in week 1. They were on the bye last week. So I still have a lot of unanswered questions about Notre Dame. I think Texas A&M is going to give them everything they can handle.
Well, so in the podcast earlier this week, we did that rankings podcast. I talked about how Texas A&M is on that secondary tier of good SEC teams. With Mississippi, South Carolina, I think is on that tier too. Tennessee, where certainly they can make the playoffs. You don't think of them necessarily as national championship type
Correct.
contenders, but this is where teams are trying to separate themselves, right? And I think if Texas A&M can go into Notre Dame and come away with a win, that or play well at the very least, then you start to see some separation from them from the rest of the pack.
I agree.
And of course, Notre Dame, they're another school that is scheduling very difficult at the beginning of the year here because you could see Notre Dame have 2 losses before we get officially turn the page to fall.
That's right.
So yeah, it might even have a little bit of pressure here in this game.
I think they have some pressure to bounce back in this game.
Well, and no conference to go win for Notre Dame.
That's right.
Too. So at-large losses count. There's you can't come back and get into the playoffs a la Clemson.
Notre Dame is that quasi ACC team. My thoughts on that, but they should either just join the ACC or stay independent.
Well, that's another off-season topic for us. All right, 7:45 SEC Network. Vanderbilt at South Carolina.
Now, this is an intriguing game. I'm also putting South Carolina on a slight upset alert as well. Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech. Now, we know Virginia Tech just lost to South Carolina. So, this is going to be the matchup of both teams who beat Virginia Tech. Who is the better team?
So, you have 2 experienced quarterbacks in Diego Pavia and Lenora Sellers.
Yes.
So both the two SEC teams that return quarterbacks this year. And again, South Carolina in that tier of teams in the SEC that is looking for a way to separate themselves, show that they're a national championship top 10 type of team. Here's an opportunity against a respectable SEC opponent. So and Vanderbilt, what an opportunity for them.
Yes.
If they can notch that win, maybe Pavia's, there's might be some bark to that bite if he can get it done against Sellers and South Carolina.
Absolutely. And I agree with you, and I think this is a great test for both teams.
Well, we'll see that. And then 8 o'clock, Utah is at Wyoming. So another notch in the belt, perhaps, for Kyle Whittingham there. But no late night games involving ranked teams.
Oh, no, that's interesting. Yeah. Thank you for the break of not having ranked teams play after 8 o'clock this week. Thank you, whoever schedules these games.
All of us on the East Coast are very grateful.
Yes.
So that's week 3.
Week 3.
And we're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to seeing you again next week here on Married to Saturdays.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. It helps us out, and we so appreciate your support.
We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.